So this is my fall 2022 internship presentation. So an organization overview of my internship location was, I worked at STL Athletic Center for the fall. It's located in Fenton, which is right next to where I live, kind of South County area, close to Jefferson County. It's a small athletic facility. There's only 2 turf fields, but that space is utilized pretty efficiently. We host mainly soccer. We're right next to soccer park, so we get a lot of Gallagher teams that play in our leagues. We also do other sports like baseball and lacrosse, and the occasional, sometimes football, sometimes other things like that. We also host other events in organizations. So we have cornhole leagues, we have birthday parties, we even have events like gun shows. Uh, Really, anybody that wants to rent the space can. And you know, in terms of the sports that we host, we get all different types of levels. So we've had MLS players come in and train that are from St. Louis, train during the off season. We've had college teams practice there when it's too hot in the summertime. And then we also have, we have kids that were born in 2016, 2017 come and play in our leagues. So it's really a wide range of age groups and skill levels. So my roles and duties consisted of first and foremost, just keeping the place clean. So we did have a cleaning crew, but if they didn't show up, that's where I clean the bleachers, clean the fields. If there were trash on the fields, I would take sometimes I would take the tables outside where people eat, and I'd take them outside and hose them off and scrub them down. And then occasionally, if the trash cans were like kind of gross, we just take them outside, hose them down, and then let them dry and bring back inside. In the On the turf fields, we have a lot of the lines stitched in. So meaning like we don't have to paint those, and those lines will always be there. But we do paint some of the lines, and that's where I'll stripe them. And I do that like probably once. I probably did that once every 2 weeks, just to make sure that if they faded, they weren't so faded that people couldn't see them. And then also I would sanitize and groom the turf. So we're inside, so kids would, don't think about it and you'd spit on the ground, or you're sweating and you fall on the ground, and there's no rain, no wind to wash that away. So we had a cleaning solution that we stirred up and put in a big sprayer bottle, and I would, go around the field and spray. And then we also had a golf cart that I would drag like a grooming device, pretty much like a comb, behind the golf cart. So when the turf is like laid down, it'd push it back up, just to make it look nice, make it easier to play on, that kind of thing. I'd also set up the fields for 5v5 and 7v7 the afternoon of game nights. So typically that was Friday, and we get it ready for the weekend. So it was just, we have, 10 soccer goals that would need to be set up. And we go long ways or short way on each field for 5v5. I would also input game card data into our system. So our scheduling system does everything from employee schedules to league games to like when cornhole comes in, like everything that has to do with STL Athletic Center starts in this system. And so after a weekend of games, we have 50, 60 games played, and we'd have big stacks of game cards that just need to be input into the system, which basically just like who won, what was the score, that kind of thing. So it can affect league standings accordingly. And then other than that, it was just like basic internship duties and anything that was really asked of me. So go get lunch, go pick up lunch, like we'll order it, pick up coffee. It was mainly lunch though. And then We had toy machines in our lobbies, when little kids go with their parents to their siblings practice. Um, they'd have something to do. Those needed to be filled up. We had sponsorship banners that need to be hung up, and stuff like that. So my goals were entering my internship were to just learn about the industry. Outside of being a sports fan, I didn't know much about the sports industry at all. Um, and then also get out of my comfort zone. It was my first internship. I didn't know what to expect. And I just wanted to show up every day and do my best. I achieved my goals. I learned that I enjoy facility management, and I will continue to intern in that area. I have an internship at a Parks and Rec department next semester, and that's basically like the public sector of facility management. I also certainly got out of my comfort zone, and it helped my growth as a student, as an employee. Just making sure I showed up, not knowing what to expect, and just getting into a routine and getting over the uncomfortableness that surrounds, starting a job again. Um, what did I learn? I learned a lot of small skills relevant to facility management, and in particular, our facility at STL Athletic Center. I learned basic turf care that will help, you know, prolong the life of your turf field, and then basic maintenance stuff like assembling, you know, chairs, tables, soccer goals, or like fixing those things. And it is a cool experience because that is things you have to deal with and you don't really think about them and they won't be on the job description. But you go in one day and something can be broken and you got to get on a ladder and just fix it because it's your facility and you want your facility to be nice. You don't want your facility to be a hazard. And so you just kind of figure it out along the way. And I do enjoy that kind of work environment. I also learned about what I like to do and what I don't like to do. And I think this is a very important lesson. And it was learned through my internship experience as well as uh, guest speakers and our student professional interviews. And what I mean by that is just really asking the important questions and like taking advantage of our guest speaker questions we turn in on Wednesdays, and really asking questions that you want to know the answer to, not just putting in a question uh, just to get credit for the assignment. I understand that it's difficult to come up with a question, especially I had to turn in 6 every Wednesday for 3 different um, uh, guest speakers, but it's just really thinking about what you want to know and making sure that you get all the information that you can. My takeaways: I enjoy managing a facility and hosting events. I think the chaos and the preparation of an event is exciting, and like the build up to right before it happens, and getting everything done. You get everything done, you get to step back, and then the event happens, and you're like, wow, like I had something to do with that. That was awesome. Um, and part of that too is managing people, and I do enjoy managing people as well. Um, I also took away that I'm good at taking initiative and problem solving, and I knew that I had these skills, but they were reassured during my internship this fall. So my sport management career growth, um, it's a combination of my internship experience as well as the classes that I've taken within the program. But the biggest growth I've noticed is knowing what parts of the industry I want to pursue and which parts that I want to stay away from. And that leads into my second bullet point, which is having a better understanding of what's realistic and what isn't based on my preferences. So what I mean by that is my preference is to not relocate from St. Louis. I love St. Louis. This is where I'm from. I don't want to work somewhere else. And that being said, there's a lot of movement within the sports industry. And if you want to stay in one location, you can, that's fine. But you limit your options for sure. That being said, also, there's plenty of opportunity in the St. Louis area within the sports industry. It's just you have to broaden your search, Like you can't only be stay in St. Louis because you want to work for the Cardinals or the Blues, because they might not be hiring what you want or what you can do, or they might not be hiring at all. So things like facility management, things like Parks and Rec, things like you know coaching, that kind of thing, will will be involved in your broader search. Some advice to my younger self. So first and foremost, get used to being uncomfortable, because being uncomfortable is the easiest way to grow, and just get better. Uh, it's like when you're a kid playing basketball and you're a right-handed player and you need to get better with your left hand. So when you go to practice, you only use your left hand. That's really uncomfortable, and it's going to make you look silly, and you're going to feel like you're not a good basketball player. But you know, that's going to make you a way better basketball player by just using your left hand. And it's the same thing when you get older. You need to put yourself in situations that you wouldn't necessarily just like dive right into, and that's how you'll get better experience. That's how you'll learn new skills, and it really is a valuable lesson. Don't be afraid to take charge of a situation. Sometimes if you wait around for somebody to take that leadership role, you'll be waiting around all day. So don't be afraid to be confident in yourself, trust yourself, and take that leadership role and call the shots. Um, First impressions go a long way. So I think about this like if somebody was trying to make a good first impression on me and they were doing stupid stuff and um, they were consistent in that kind of behavior, and they were, just rubbing you the wrong way, that's going to be how you think of them every time that you see them until they can prove otherwise. And that takes a long time to undo a bad first impression. So just make sure that, you're presentable and you're polite. And honestly, sometimes the best way to have a good first impression is just to make it short, because the less time that you're involved in something, the less time you have to um, mess up, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Um, and then finally, there's more than one way to solve a problem. Uh, don't get caught up in following the instructions exactly the way you're supposed to. Obviously, there are situations where you need to follow the instructions, but if you have a problem in front of you, just stop, use your brain, and figure out a way to get to the solution. And the expression is there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think that's a weird expression, but it means the same thing. So don't get caught up in following the steps exactly the way they're supposed to. Just make sure that you get to that solution correctly. My advice for incoming students would be, first and foremost, and this is the most important part of my advice, is listen to and trust Dr. B, and be a really good communicator with her. I know students have had experiences with teachers where your mindset is the less they know, the better. This is the complete opposite. The more she knows about your intentions within the program, your intentions within the sports industry, what you're doing with your internships, how you're keeping up with your homework, all of that, the better off you will be, because all she wants to do is help. And she's going to make you the best student you can be if you buy in and you trust the program. Um, Make the most of your internship experience. You can have an internship like every semester if you want to. And that's how you'll get like a lot of these jobs coming out of college are, I want a year to 3 years, or they want prior experience. And if you have that, you can have it while you're studying, which is pretty cool. More on that, use your internships to sub out classes, meaning, if you can cut off, 3 credit hours and do an internship instead, then do that internship instead. Because I mean, especially if it's paid too, you're going to go get paid to work instead of going to another class. And I think that's pretty beneficial. And then last, buy into the program. It's a great program. that's built for your success. And the quicker you buy in, and just like, there's stuff that you're going to see that you're not going to want to do. But that's the same thing for every program that is in college. There's going to be stuff that you don't want to do, and you're going to think it's stupid, and you're going to think it's, not beneficial. But if you buy in, you're just like, I got to do it, then um, go ahead and like just make sure that you get that done. Um, my advice for current sports management students would be just to continue to trust the program and do well in your classes. Um, look for internship opportunities whenever possible, and more on that, firming up an internship placement. Like, so I firmed up my spring internship placement back in August. So I didn't have to worry about anything. I had it taken care of. I knew, and I could really go and like go with the flow throughout the semester and kind of figure out things at a little slower pace. Like, when's my start date? What am I getting paid? Am I getting paid? That, all that kind of thing. I had 5 months to figure that out, because I had that internship placement way back at the beginning of the semester for next semester. So just having your placement sooner rather than later is just makes it easier for you. And then also be a good communicator. Like I said, being in good communication with Dr. B is really important, and will help your success in this program immensely. And so some advice about the UMSL Sport Management program. It's built to help you. So, and it's also, you get out of it what you put into it. And so if you don't buy in, and you don't do everything you're supposed to, and you don't talk, and Dr. B doesn't know who you are, and which she wouldn't let happen, but you're not in communication with her, yeah, it's probably not going to be the best experience, and you're probably not going to learn a whole lot. Use your resources. So use work in sports, use your guest speakers. I mean, use Dr. B. They're all so important to your success, and it will help you immensely. Buy into, like I said this 100 times, buy into the program and trust that Dr. B is going to get you where you need to be. And then also just constantly be looking for your fit in the sports industry. Meaning, like, know what you want to do, know what you don't want to do. Just constantly be looking at where you would fit in. So my conclusion is, my internship was a great experience, and I am very excited about my next one, because this one wasn't paid and the next one is paid, and it's doing something that I know that I enjoy. Communication is the key to success, especially in this program. And then make the most of your time in school, especially, when you're a senior like me. So what I mean by that is, like I was saying earlier, about your guest speaker questions and your student professional interviews and your internship experience. You're not going to know what you don't like to do unless you do it most of the time, right? I don't have enough time to do an internship in everything, because I'm a senior and I'm a transfer student and I came back to school to do this. If you're a freshman or a sophomore, you have time to do all that. But if you're a senior, you don't have time to do all that. So make the most of your time. Like, ask important questions for guest speakers, interview people for your student professional interviews that you are genuinely interested in their career field, not just so you can check off a name and be done with the interview. So there's a lot of things to take away, but bottom line is the program is built to help you, and internships are a great experience.